Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that everything around you, the smiles, the struggles, the chaos, could be changed by a single action of yours. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. You might think one person cannot shift the tide of a storm or bring light into a vast darkness, but history whispers to us, with every hero and every silent kindness, that it is not the crowd that moves the world, but the courage of one. One act can ripple into millions, one word can heal what was broken. One smile can awaken hope where despair lived. Life waits for no one, but it bends its course for those who dare to care. The power of a single intentional action is something that is often underestimated. We live in a world that praises grand gestures and monumental achievements, yet it is the small deliberate steps taken by one individual that quietly shift the balance of life for countless others. Imagine a person deciding to offer help to a stranger, to speak words of encouragement, or to stand up for what is right even when no one is watching. That single choice is more than a fleeting moment. It is the spark that can ignite hope, compassion, and transformation. When we act intentionally, we harness the clarity of our purpose. We understand that our actions are not meaningless, that each decision carries weight, and that our responsibility is not to wait for others to act, but to move forward ourselves. This is where real influence begins. When you act with intention, you are not merely reacting to circumstances. You are stepping into your power, shaping outcomes, and creating a space where positivity and growth can thrive. A single intentional action becomes a seed planted in fertile ground. It may not be obvious at first how far its roots will spread or how high it will reach, but over time the impact multiplies. Consider the ripple effect when someone chooses to smile at a lonely person, offer guidance to a confused mind, or show patience to someone who feels unheard. These small acts are intentional. They are conscious, deliberate, and full of meaning. And they carry the capacity to inspire a chain reaction that no one person can fully measure. Intentional actions break through the inertia that keeps people stuck in fear, doubt, or apathy. When one person moves with purpose, it sends a message to others that change is possible, that courage is contagious, and that goodness is not just a vague idea, but a practical choice that can be made in every moment. There is a profound strength in intentionality because it creates clarity in the midst of uncertainty. Life is messy, unpredictable, and often overwhelming. Decisions can feel paralyzing when the world seems too big or the problems too complicated. Yet intentional action is the antidote to this paralysis. It reminds us that while we cannot control everything, we can control the quality and focus of our own efforts. By choosing deliberately, we demonstrate that leadership is not a title, kindness is not a transaction, and impact is not measured by recognition, but by genuine transformation. History and daily life alike are full of stories where one person's intentional choice shifted the course of events. A single teacher who refuses to give up on a struggling student changes that student's life forever. A single activist who speaks truth to power reshapes the consciousness of a society. A single individual who decides to listen, truly listen, to another human being alters the trajectory of that person's existence in ways unseen. This is not about waiting for perfect circumstances or extraordinary abilities. It is about recognizing that every moment offers the opportunity to act with awareness and purpose. Each intentional gesture matters because it affirms our belief in the value of human life and the potential inherent in every interaction. One action taken with clarity and thoughtfulness resonates far beyond its immediate context. The beauty of intentional action is that it does not require grandeur. It does not need approval or applause. Its power comes from its authenticity and the courage behind it. When we act intentionally, we align ourselves with the possibility of change. We signal to the universe and to those around us that we are present, we care, and we are willing to contribute to a better reality. Small actions matter because they are deliberate. They are chosen with care, infused with purpose, and capable of inspiring others to reflect, act, and carry forward the same spirit. Over time, these intentional acts accumulate, creating a web of influence that grows stronger with each conscious decision. Even when the immediate impact is invisible, the long-term consequences are profound. One person who chooses to act intentionally demonstrates that the difference between despair and hope, stagnation and progress, lies in the simple choice to engage, to move, and to care. It is the foundation upon which every other key point rests, the ripples of kindness, the courage to act in ordinary moments, the transformation of others and ourselves, the consistency that outlasts fleeting heroism, the inspiration that comes from example, and the contagious power of belief in goodness, all begin with one intentional act. Every great change starts with this simple truth. By recognizing and embracing the power of a single intentional action, we can transform our lives and create a better future for ourselves and for others. We claim the ability to influence the world in meaningful ways, reminding ourselves and others that no effort is too small and no person too insignificant to leave a mark that endures. Small kindnesses create unstoppable ripples, and yet so often we underestimate their power. In a world that measures success by numbers and achievements, the gentle acts of care, the quiet gestures of love, and the simple moments of attention are often dismissed as insignificant. But nothing could be further from the truth. Every small act of kindness carries with it the ability to change lives, not immediately in ways we always see, but in ways that unfold over time, touching hearts and shaping destinies. When we offer a smile to someone weighed down by despair, that smile may be the spark that shifts their perspective. When we hold the door for a stranger, lend a listening ear, or speak words of encouragement, we are planting seeds that can grow into forests of hope. These small gestures create ripples that extend far beyond the moment, reaching places we cannot predict, influencing people we may never meet, and creating a chain reaction that builds momentum in ways unimaginable. Think about the times in your own life when someone's simple act of kindness altered your day, or even your path. Perhaps it was a word of encouragement in a moment of doubt, a gesture of patience in a time of stress, or a small favor done without expectation of return. These moments, seemingly small at the time, may have kept you moving forward, given you courage to act, or inspired you to pass that kindness along. This is the essence of the ripple effect. One act of kindness inspires another, which inspires another, creating a movement that cannot be stopped. Each ripple is connected to the others, forming a network of influence that grows stronger with every action. It begins with awareness, the ability to see the needs of others and to respond intentionally. We must recognize that even the smallest gestures matter because they communicate value and attention. When we acknowledge another person, show empathy, or offer help, we remind them that they are seen, heard, and understood. This simple recognition often carries more power than any grand speech or impressive achievement because it speaks directly to the human heart. Small kindnesses also have the power to bridge divides and heal wounds. In moments of tension, misunderstanding, or conflict, an act of compassion can break the cycle of negativity. A kind word or gesture can diffuse anger, build trust, and open doors that might otherwise remain closed. The effects are cumulative. One small kindness leads to another, not just in the lives of those directly touched, but in the environment around them. People who feel supported and valued are more likely to act with kindness themselves, extending the ripple effect outward into their communities, workplaces, and families. There is also a remarkable resilience in kindness. It cannot be destroyed, diminished, or undone by negativity. Even when met with indifference, the act itself holds integrity and strength. The ripples may take time to manifest, but they will manifest, often in ways that exceed our expectations. The beauty of this principle lies in its accessibility. Anyone can create ripples. It does not require wealth, fame, or extraordinary talent. What it requires is presence, attention, and willingness to act. Every small gesture of generosity, patience, or compassion contributes to a network of positivity that grows beyond measure. Small kindnesses also teach us humility and patience. We learn that change does not always happen instantly, that transformation often requires persistence, and that the effects of our actions may not be visible until far into the future. Yet we continue because we understand the principle that every ripple counts, every action matters, and every effort is part of a larger movement. When we embrace the ripple effect, we also embrace connection. We recognize that no person exists in isolation, and that our actions influence not just ourselves, but those around us. In a world that often emphasizes competition and self-interest, small acts of kindness remind us of our shared humanity and our collective capacity to create a better reality. Small kindnesses are unstoppable because they tap into the natural human response to give and receive care. One gesture can inspire another, creating a wave that spreads faster than any intention to stop it. It is the quiet, consistent, and genuine acts of goodness that accumulate to create real, lasting change. By understanding and practicing this principle, we can transform ordinary days into opportunities for impact, ordinary encounters into moments of influence, and ordinary lives into catalysts for hope. When we recognize that even the smallest gesture has the potential to create ripples that travel far beyond our sight, we empower ourselves to act, to care, and to contribute to a world that is brighter, kinder, and more compassionate. In this way, small kindnesses are not small at all. They are the invisible currents that shift hearts, inspire action, and ultimately change the world. Courage in ordinary moments sparks extraordinary change, and yet it is often overlooked because we associate courage with grand gestures or heroic feats. We imagine bravery as standing on a battlefield, giving a rousing speech, or challenging powerful forces. But the truth is that courage lives quietly in the decisions we make every day. It lives in the moments when we choose honesty over convenience, compassion over indifference, and action over inaction. These ordinary moments may seem small, even insignificant, but they are the seeds from which extraordinary change grows. Think of the times when someone stood up for what was right, despite knowing it would be uncomfortable or unpopular. Perhaps they defended a friend being criticized, offered support to someone in pain, or admitted a mistake instead of hiding behind excuses. These are acts of courage in their simplest form, yet they have the power to alter the course of relationships, influence environments, and inspire others to act with similar integrity. Courage in ordinary moments is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of fear, the decision to act despite uncertainty or risk. It is what allows us to step into responsibility, to embrace accountability, and to transform potential energy into meaningful impact. Every time we act courageously in these small everyday ways, we are sending a signal to ourselves and to those around us that change is possible, that good matters, and that the world is shaped by the choices we make when no one is watching. The beauty of courage in ordinary moments is its accessibility. We do not need fame, wealth, or recognition to exercise it. It is available to anyone willing to look beyond immediate comfort and convenience and to prioritize principle over ease. When a person chooses courage in these moments, they demonstrate a quiet strength that resonates far beyond their immediate surroundings. Others notice, even subtly. They feel inspired, emboldened, and reminded that action is possible even in difficult circumstances. Courage also has a ripple effect because it challenges inertia. Many people remain passive because they assume someone else will act, that their contribution is too small, or that change is out of reach. But when one person chooses courage in ordinary moments, it breaks this pattern. It reminds everyone that progress starts not with waiting but with doing. The most profound transformations in human life often begin this way. One person, acting with courage in what seems like an ordinary context, can shift the dynamics of a workplace, family, or community. A teacher speaking up against injustice, a friend confronting harmful behavior, a neighbor offering help despite fear or uncertainty. These are the moments where courage intersects with impact. Courage also nurtures personal growth. Every time we choose to act bravely, we reinforce our own character. We learn that our influence is real, that our choices matter, and that we are capable of shaping the world in ways both visible and unseen. Ordinary courage builds extraordinary resilience because it strengthens our ability to face greater challenges when they arise. It teaches us patience, persistence, and the understanding that change does not always come in dramatic moments, but often through consistent, principled action over time. Moreover, courage in ordinary people is a rare and precious gift. Moments creates trust and connection. People are drawn to those who act with integrity, who choose what is right over what is easy. They feel safe, inspired, and encouraged to act in kind. This is how one person's quiet bravery multiplies, transforming communities and creating environments where goodness can thrive. Courage also challenges the narrative that individual action is insignificant. We often wait for others to lead, for perfect circumstances, or for recognition to feel justified. But the courage to act in ordinary moments defies this mindset. It reminds us that influence is not dependent on scale or spectacle. Even small acts of bravery ripple outward, inspiring more courage, more action, and more belief in the possibility of change. Ordinary courage demands awareness. We must recognize the moments where inaction would perpetuate harm, fear, or stagnation. These are opportunities to step forward, to embody the values we believe in, and to demonstrate through action that our principles are alive. Each choice, each small stand, is a brushstroke on the canvas of a life that influences others. When we cultivate courage in the everyday, we create a culture of possibility. We remind ourselves and everyone around us that extraordinary change is not reserved for the few, but is accessible to anyone willing to act despite fear, doubt, or difficulty. It is in these ordinary moments, repeated consistently, that greatness emerges. Courage is contagious because it validates the strength of others, signals the feasibility of action, and lights the path forward in situations that feel overwhelming. It transforms hesitation into initiative, apathy into engagement, and despair into hope. When one person chooses courage in the everyday, they create a force that cannot be contained. The world shifts not because of spectacle, but because of principle. By embracing courage in ordinary moments, we unlock the potential to inspire, transform, and lead without needing permission or recognition. Every act of courage matters because it carries the possibility of extraordinary change. Compassion transforms not only others but ourselves, and yet it is one of the most underestimated forces in the world. Many people think of compassion as a passive feeling, something reserved for moments of extreme need or crisis. But in truth, it is an active power that reshapes lives when practiced consistently and sincerely. Compassion is not about grand gestures or public recognition. It is about noticing the humanity in others and responding with care, patience, and understanding. When we act with compassion, we engage with the world in a way that goes beyond self-interest. We begin to see that every person carries struggles, fears, and hopes, just as we do, and that our willingness to respond to those struggles can create profound change. The transformative power of compassion lies in its ability to break cycles of pain, indifference, and misunderstanding. When we extend compassion, we offer validation to others, acknowledging their experiences and showing that their feelings matter. This simple recognition can heal wounds that have festered in silence, lift burdens that felt unbearable, and open doors to hope that were previously shut. Even a small act, like offering a listening ear, providing encouragement, or showing patience in moments of tension, can have cascading effects. It can inspire others to act with kindness, to extend the same care they receive to someone else, and to carry forward a culture of empathy that grows far beyond the original act. Compassion transforms others because it shifts their perception of the world and their place in it. People who are met with genuine care feel empowered, seen, and valued. They are reminded that despite challenges, there is goodness in the world, and that their lives have meaning. This impact is not fleeting. It can leave lasting impressions that influence decisions, attitudes, and behaviors. Compassion does not only transform others, it transforms us. When we engage with the world compassionately, we cultivate qualities within ourselves that strengthen character, resilience, and perspective. We develop patience in the face of frustration, understanding in moments of conflict, and humility in times of pride. Compassion challenges us to step beyond the narrow confines of our own desires and to confront the reality of others' experiences. This confrontation fosters emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a deeper connection to life itself. It allows us to recognize our shared humanity, the interconnectedness of all people, and the responsibility we hold to make the world better not only for ourselves, but for those around us. The more we practice compassion, the more it becomes a lens through which we view life. Ordinary moments become opportunities to act meaningfully. A busy day, a stressful situation, or even a small inconvenience can become a chance to extend care rather than react with impatience or indifference. Compassion transforms routine interactions into opportunities for influence and connection. It also builds courage and consistency. Acting compassionately is not always easy. It requires intentionality, selflessness, and often vulnerability. Yet each time we choose compassion, we reinforce the strength of our character and the habit of acting with purpose. Over time, these choices create a life that radiates positive influence. Compassion is contagious. When one person acts with genuine care, it inspires others to do the same. A workplace, a neighborhood, or even a family can change its culture through repeated acts of empathy and understanding. The environment becomes one in which kindness, patience, and support are valued and practiced, creating ripples that extend far beyond the initial act. Practicing compassion also teaches us resilience in the face of adversity. Life is filled with moments of difficulty, disappointment, and conflict, and without compassion, these moments can foster bitterness or detachment. But when we respond with care, we not only soften the impact for others, we build the capacity to face life's challenges with grace and balance. Compassion grounds us. It reminds us that our actions have weight, that our choices affect lives, and that we are capable of influencing the world in profound ways without needing recognition or reward. In practicing compassion, we come to understand that transformation is not always dramatic or immediate. Often, the impact is subtle, felt quietly in hearts, in decisions, and in relationships. Yet these cumulative effects are what ultimately reshape communities, cultures, and even generations. Compassion is the bridge between intention and action, between understanding and influence. It is the living expression of empathy and care, and it is the force that turns ordinary human interaction into extraordinary change. When we embrace compassion fully, we do more than help others. We expand our own capacity for love, patience, and courage. We become conduits for positive influence, channels through which goodness flows freely and ripples endlessly. By choosing compassion in every moment, we transform ourselves into instruments of change, creating a world that reflects the humanity, care, and hope that we carry within. Consistency beats occasional heroism every time, and yet it is a principle that is often overlooked in favor of dramatic gestures or momentary brilliance. People celebrate extraordinary acts, moments of courage, or singular achievements. But the truth is that lasting impact is built not on isolated feats, but on the steady, deliberate actions we take day after day. One heroic act may inspire for a moment, but it is the repeated, persistent choices that truly transform lives, communities, and even the world. Consistency creates trust. When people know that your words match your actions, that your care does not fluctuate with convenience, and that your commitment remains firm even when circumstances are difficult, you become a source of reliability and influence. Your impact multiplies because others can count on your presence, your integrity, and your example. Occasional heroism may dazzle, but it cannot replace the quiet power of regular, consistent effort. Think of the teacher who shows up every day, patiently guiding students, nurturing their curiosity, and encouraging their growth. Perhaps one day they save a student from giving up, but the true transformation comes from the countless days of steady support that build confidence, understanding, and resilience. Or consider a friend who listens attentively, not just in moments of crisis, but every time you need someone to be present. Their consistent care, though unremarkable at first glance, creates a foundation of trust and connection that endures through life's challenges. Consistency beats occasional heroism because it creates momentum. Life is not a single moment, it is a series of choices, actions, and interactions. Each consistent effort adds weight to the positive forces we cultivate, creating a cumulative effect that becomes unstoppable over time. One kind word, one deliberate action, or one small act of courage may seem insignificant on its own, but repeated regularly, these acts transform the environment around us. Persistence, patience, and commitment are the quiet forces that magnify our influence far beyond what a single heroic act could achieve. Consistency also fosters resilience. Life is unpredictable, filled with setbacks, frustrations, and obstacles. Occasional heroism may shine brightly for a moment, but it cannot withstand repeated challenges if it is not grounded in regular effort. By acting consistently, we strengthen our character, build endurance, and learn to navigate difficulties without losing sight of our purpose. It is in the repeated practice of our values that they become habits, and habits are what shape long-term impact. Moreover, consistency in positive action cultivates credibility. People begin to recognize that your kindness, courage, or integrity is not situational or performative but genuine and reliable. They begin to believe in your influence because they witness its endurance, not its fleeting brilliance. This credibility opens doors to inspire others, to create movements, and to multiply the effect of your actions far beyond what you could accomplish alone. The power of consistency lies in its simplicity. It does not require grandeur, dramatic timing, or perfect conditions. It requires attention, commitment, and the willingness to show up, day after day, even when the results are not immediately visible. By doing so, we reinforce the principle that change is not about spectacular moments, but about sustained, deliberate effort. Consistency also builds a culture of expectation and influence. When one person consistently demonstrates care, courage, and integrity, then that person is a role model. It sets a standard for those around them. Others begin to mirror these behaviors, not out of compulsion but because they recognize their value and their effect. The environment itself transforms as repeated actions accumulate, creating an ecosystem of positivity, reliability, and growth. Another vital aspect of consistency is that it allows learning and refinement. Occasional acts may be impressive, but repeated actions create feedback loops. They allow us to adjust, improve, and respond to the needs of those around us more effectively. This iterative growth ensures that our influence is not only sustained, but also deepened over time. Even in the face of doubt, criticism, or slow progress, consistency reminds us that impact is measured not by immediate recognition, but by enduring presence. Heroism that appears once and fades may be celebrated for its drama, but it rarely produces lasting change. True transformation emerges from the quiet, steadfast practice of our values, the repeated demonstration of our principles, and the daily choice to act with purpose. Consistency is the bridge between intention and lasting influence, between good intentions and tangible results. It is the foundation upon which all other key principles rest. The ripples of kindness, courage in ordinary moments, compassionate influence, intentional action, and belief in the power of goodness all grow stronger when supported by consistency. By embracing the power of consistent effort, we ensure that our actions leave a lasting mark, quietly shaping the world in profound and enduring ways. Leading by example inspires more than words ever could, because people respond to what they see more than what they hear. We live in a world where advice is abundant, but true influence is rare. Anyone can tell another what to do, preach values, or deliver speeches, but it is the act of living those principles that moves hearts and motivates change. Leadership is not a title, it is a reflection of consistent behavior, integrity, and courage demonstrated in everyday life. When one person acts with authenticity, others notice not just consciously, but unconsciously, as values are absorbed through observation and example. The power of leading by example lies in its simplicity and universality. It does not require recognition, acclaim, or validation. When we embody the principles we wish to share, honesty, kindness, courage, compassion, or perseverance, we create a living standard of what is possible. Others naturally align with what is tangible and observable. A teacher who models patience and curiosity inspires students more profoundly than any lecture could. A parent who handles stress with calm and resilience teaches children lessons that last a lifetime. A friend who remains loyal, generous, and compassionate demonstrates the principles of care far more deeply than words alone. Leading by example also eliminates the gap between intention and action. Too often, people fail to follow guidance because they perceive inconsistency between what is said and what is done. Words without action are hollow, they lack credibility, and fail to inspire. But when we act in alignment with our values, our influence becomes undeniable. People are drawn to authenticity, and authentic action motivates others to emulate, adopt, and internalize the behavior they witness. Ordinary acts of leadership, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results. A single individual who embodies the qualities they wish to see in others can shape culture, influence decisions, and transform communities. Leading by example builds trust because it communicates commitment without the need for explanation. When others see a person consistently choosing what is right, they are more likely to trust and respect that person. Even when it is difficult, they are reminded that integrity matters, and they are encouraged to act similarly. This trust is not built in dramatic moments alone, it grows through observation of the quiet, persistent, and principled actions taken day after day. Beyond influencing others, leading by example transforms the individual as well. When we hold ourselves accountable to the standards we advocate, we cultivate discipline, self-awareness, and resilience. We learn to act intentionally and to align our choices with our values. This self-transformation enhances the credibility of our example and deepens the impact of our influence. Leadership by example is contagious. When one person demonstrates courage, kindness, or integrity, it inspires others to step into the same behavior. Communities, workplaces, and families begin to reflect the principles embodied by those who act consistently. One person's commitment becomes a catalyst for collective growth. Moreover, leading by example fosters humility. It is not about seeking recognition, but about allowing actions to speak on our behalf. True leaders do not demand attention, they quietly guide through consistency, authenticity, and integrity. People are drawn to that quiet force, often without realizing why. The ripple effect of example is profound because it reaches far beyond immediate awareness. One person's action can influence behaviors, attitudes, and decisions across layers of relationships, creating a culture of accountability, empathy, and purpose. Ordinary courage, consistent kindness, and deliberate action observed in daily life can inspire others to act similarly, reinforcing the principles we hope to instill. Leading by example also bridges gaps between generations, cultures, and communities. Actions resonate universally. The principles we embody, honesty, courage, compassion, are understood across contexts, and others naturally adopt them when they witness their real-world application. This is why genuine influence transcends speech, it is alive in action. It teaches more than words because it demonstrates possibility, practicality, and real consequences. We cannot rely on eloquence alone to inspire change. What people internalize is the demonstration of values through living behavior. By modeling what we believe, we show not only that change is possible, but also how it is achieved. Ordinary individuals become catalysts for extraordinary transformation by embracing this principle. Every step taken in alignment with integrity, every choice made with purpose, and every act carried out with courage or kindness is observed and absorbed by others. In this way, one good person's actions become a template, a beacon, and a standard for others to follow. When we embrace the power of leading by example, we step into a form of influence that words cannot match. Our actions ripple through the lives of those around us, inspiring courage, integrity, and compassion, and quietly shaping the world in ways far greater than we can imagine. As we reach the close of this reflection, it becomes clear that one good person truly can make a monumental difference. Every intentional action we take, every small kindness we extend, every courageous choice in ordinary moments, every compassionate gesture, every consistent effort, every example we set, and every belief we hold in the power of goodness, all converge to create ripples that transform lives, communities, and the world around us. Change is not reserved for the extraordinary, it is born in the steady, purposeful, and heartfelt choices of those willing to act, to care, and to believe. Remember, the impact of your life is not measured by the applause you receive, but by the lives you touch, the hope you inspire, and the goodness you leave behind. Carry forward these principles in every interaction, every challenge, and every opportunity, knowing that your actions have the power to shape a better world. Good luck on your journey of influence and impact. Thank you for listening and for choosing to be the light that the world so deeply needs.